Election Management Services Africa, IMSA, Mr. Terry Zilani, and we're joined now by the Professor at Politics at UJ, Professor Mcebisi Mdletsana. Thank you so much for making the time. As you look at these touch points that we've been making, and you have been on the other side, give us a sense of what goes into putting together this massive operation. Well,
like I normally say, when the firefighters finish with firefighting, they start preparing for the next one. So immediately after the election, the Electoral Commission starts making arrangements for the next one. So it started with the assessment of the reports coming from various missions. As you know, that you've got observer missions. You get the reports from the observer mission, you look at what they are saying, what they are recommending, and you try to integrate that into your systems. You try to refine your systems. You also get the political parties, you check with other stakeholders, and then all that information then starts helping you in terms of building the structure. So the focus then becomes firstly on the demarcation processes. There is an institution that deals with demarcation issues, and then after the information has been given to the IEC, the commission will then integrate that information and develop or do what we call the delimitation process, which is basically breaking down that information according to the voting districts.
Why is it so difficult to finalize the Vuwani issue?
I think it's a political matter, and it's an issue that has got to be dealt with by the political leadership together with the community in that area. And I would have thought by now the issue would have been resolved.
Prof, 25 years into democracy, we're still viewed as one of the most undemocratic countries or unequal countries in the world, held back by corruption and crime. What can we hope to come out of this election?
Well, we still need to vote. We have challenges, obviously, as a country. We have a long legacy, a long history within which things happened, and so that legacy cannot be undone within 25 years. And obviously a lot has been done, and I think at some point our political leaders became complacent, engaged in corruption.
The crime and the corruption components are new beasts.
Well, corruption has always been there, crime has always been there, but the point is that democracy has no end point. It's work in progress. Continuously we have to work on it, and that means that citizens have to continuously be engaged in the process, because whoever goes to parliament is put there by you. So you can't turn around and blame anyone else. So if things are not going well, they're not going well because you are allowing them not to go well. That is why it's important that you come to vote. You vote for credible people. You vote for people that make reasonable promises. But the fact that you have problems everywhere. You don't have a country that is perfect. So the fact that you have problems doesn't mean that you have to sit back. It simply means that you have to continue.
When we talk about a credible a candidate, as you say, people should vote for credible people. We were unpacking a report yesterday where they were saying young people did not feel represented on the ballot. Which segment is more important? Yesterday we were talking to some of the people who went out to, or rather our journalists went to their homes when they were casting their special votes. And some of the people we were talking to couldn't even remember how far back they started voting and which parties, and because there are new changed parties on the ballot, they're now a bit confused. Which sector of the community is important in terms of determining a strong and credible outcome? Is it the women vote, the youth vote, the business vote? Which one really?
Previously, the old folks, especially from the late 40s up to 50s, 60s, constituted the largest segment of the voting population. But now, I think the 20-something up into the 30s, 39 years old, constitute the largest segment. So political parties, as they plan, they will look at those stats, look at the largest segment, and go to that segment. Young people, of course, voting also has to do with what you have in the stake, or rather in the system. Do you have a stake in the system or not? Young people don't work. They don't think that whatever happens has any bearing on them. They don't pay tax. right? As soon as you start paying tax, and buy a house, take kids to school, you start complaining that politicians are squandering your money. You become angry, you are motivated, so you are activated into some kind of activism. So it's understandable. You see, this thing of mystifying apathy amongst youth, it's a debate that's going on, and at times it becomes a meaningless debate because the answers are obvious. We're trying to complicate it. Of course, we would want to get them involved in the system as early as possible. But the fact that they are not as interested as you and I is not a mystery. Really? It simply means that they don't have a stake in the system. They are still young. They have better things to do. Social media is more. But once they start working, paying tax and this and that, that is why
and they
today,
wake up.
Then they wake up.
Yeah.
That is why
Smell
today you
coffee.
have the largest segment of them being in the 30s because they've just entered the system and they know that their taxes mean something. They've worked for them very hard. So they need a government that will spend that responsibly.
Okay, I'm going to cross over to our reporter whose surname sometimes I switch over with yours, Aphumelele Mdlalane, who is standing